if you want to customize specific fields so you instruct the MCP client even better, there are a few ways with Restify. Firstly, you should understand that this input schema is the information that tells to AI, to the MCP client, look, these are fields that you can use when communicating with this tool. Basically, when you will call the update organization, you should provide an ID and all of these fields as well. And here are some description and extra instructions for each of them. You also have a required attribute mentioning what exactly is required out of these fields. Okay. There are a few ways to customize what exactly you want to display. And let's take it step by step. First of all, I want to show you how you can override the index fields. Now, if I will go ahead and call, try to open it out of here, you see we have all fields from the organization repository. If I want to hide specific fields, I can do that from here, either hide from MCP, but I have to do that for every field if I want to hide the majority of them, okay? So now that field should disappear from here. But what if I want to override almost all fields out of here? Well, you can override this method, fields for MCP index. And in fact, you should return as less data as possible for index to not consume too much tokens. And now you only have the name out of index. Let's move forward and understand how we can do the same pretty much with update or store or anything else. As you can guess, we have fields for MCP update where we can do pretty much the same. Like that. Field name, and you can provide some rules. It's required, it's max 255, and it's instruct here that it is required. You can notice here is a description, which by default it's built out of the rules that you specify. So if you have good enough rules for your fields, the description will be generated quite accurately. However, you still have a way to override it if you use the description method. And this way you instruct the MCP client even better. In a real project, I don't advise you to override these methods all the time because you will have to maintain two code bases in the end, and that's not fun. What I do instead, I go here and I manipulate fields right away. So if I have to provide rules, generic rules, I'm trying to do it here. If this field, for example, is required only one store, I will do it like this. And for update, let's say I have no rules, okay? So this is the update. I have the max rule, which applies every time in case the name will be provided, but it's not required. It's not required. And what I can do here is to, let's keep it as array, and let's add a description right away, organization name, like that. And by the way, I saw there is a subdomain required. This is not totally accurate because it's required only one storing, so storing rules. But for updating rules, it can be nullable, but it should be also unique, like so. And I can give a better description, I think. So like that, perfect. Okay, that sounds good to me. Now, while updating, the subdomain is not required, okay? However, if I will expose the store method out of here, index update store, correct? Here the subdomain should be required. That's in a nutshell how you can override and destruct your MCP client even better. You use the description and you use rules for the fields.